lockdowns. That'd be just fine with me. On the line with me this morning is Andy Crowner from the city of West Burlington. Good morning and happy holidays to you, Andy.
Good morning and Merry Christmas to you.
What's happening?
I've got a lot going on in city and in real estate right now. It's been busy. I thought I'd have a week or two off, but not so much.
No. We got the water rates in the news again today. We're talking about building the new water tower out toward the city shops and on West Mount Pleasant Street. And so where are we at on that increase?
Yeah, we approved that first round of increases, which is a 10% increase that goes into effect here at the beginning of the year. The good news is last week when we talked, I had one number wrong. Our code up on the website was actually a year old. So your low-end users, so the person that uses about 3,000 gallons, which is mostly going to be your single, elderly, fixed income person.
Right.
That cost is not going up at all. So, and that's going to be for everybody. That first 3,000 gallons is going to stay where it's at, and you'll see just about a 10% or just a little bit over.
Yep, that's me.
Over 3,000 gallons. So
that's me. Fixed income, elderly, and I don't use 3,000 gallons. I always pay the minimum.
That's pretty good if you're paying the minimum.
Yep. All right, so that's been resolved. And then there was the RISE grant that we were talking about. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so the RISE grant is an engineering cost to go out and build a road out near the old Raiders building, that site out there, and it leads so that we can actually subdivide that later on. We did go ahead and pass that. I was kind of the lone vote against. I am for doing that project, but I think it's a little early. The building has not been purchased. There's no purchase agreement.
Right.
Financing hasn't been agreed upon yet, so I'd like to wait and see those things happen first. But we did go ahead and approve that, so we'll go ahead and get the engineering done, and hopefully the deal for that Raiders building will go through. Obviously, we've had some bad news with ABB here in the last week, and we're really sad to see them go. Mayor Hans Troussel had pinned a letter to their company telling them, how much we've needed and enjoyed the fruits of GE and ABB over the years, and how hard that's going to hit our community. And
right.
I think that's good he spoke out on that, but we're really going to miss that. So hopefully some of these other deals can come
Did you
together.
happen to hear Jeremy Hess on this station yesterday?
I did not. No, I spoke to him just around the time that came out, but no, I didn't hear him.
Yeah, so we had him on yesterday to bring some optimism to the table. He's the for those of you that didn't hear, he's the director of the economic development portion of the chamber, and he did talk about that Raider project, that and another one. So there are two companies that, for sure, as you've pointed out, some of the details haven't been officially worked out yet. But they're coming. He has super high confidence on two companies, and then a different two companies that have nothing to do with that project that are maybe in the pipeline that he's working pretty hard on, and the owners and whatnot on the relocation are already buying homes here and whatever. So he's got high confidence, and that was good to hear. But I'm with you in that. In terms of spending the taxpayer dollar, let's get all the signed purchase agreements and whatever, and we learn from the manner not to put the cart in front of the horse on these deals. But I'm with you. You vote your vote, and then you got to be okay with what the rest of them said. The ABB thing, we had as a community put our money where our mouth was, right, on that deal. Did everything we could in terms of dollars to keep them here and for those years. And Jeremy also said that, most of that, all of that was paid back for sure. And there's one, can't remember what it was, one little thing hanging out there yet that is not considered paid back. But what stinks is that they're leaving. And there are some things that he mentioned that they can do to help us still with some of these programs from the state and federal government. So
we did get paid back most of that money, which was good back when GE sold to ABB.
Yep.
We did get most of that money back at that point in time, but it's going to be tough. Obviously, in this day and age, a manufacturing company with good jobs moving in, 300-400 jobs. I mean, that's just kind of unheard of right now. And so we are going to have to find ways to bring in companies that are having 25, 50 jobs and
right.
kind of piece that back together if we can.
And also, he was making those announcements yesterday as a way to say to the ABB people who are the ones that have the opportunity to leave with their job and go to North Carolina, to say, if you like it here, you can stay here. We will make that work for you. You know, there's a program he mentioned that pays the differential if there is one. Let's say they were earning $20 an hour at ABB, and the job they pick up here that they need is $17 an hour. There's a state and federal program that will pay that $3 difference. So,
yeah, in other words, we will pay that for you.
Yeah. So trying to get them. It's one thing to take our jobs and leave, but don't take the people. We need the people, right? Like.
Yeah, and understand. I mean, obviously, I think people listening to your radio station understand this more than others, but, you know, there's nothing that the chamber can do or I as a city council person can do to bring that job back. I mean, we've seen, you know, paying and trying to keep them here by giving them money is a temporary thing.
Right.
What we really need to do is just set up our city and our infrastructure and have our taxes as low as possible and be ready for if that is a possibility if somebody wants to move here. But
yep.
we can't force any job in here, and we really need some homegrown. I worked for Randy Weingart for a long time, and he's done such a great job for the city, keeping jobs here and manufacturing here. And let me guarantee you, it would be pretty easy to move that to China and have that manufacturing over there. So
right.
we need to remember that and applaud the people that are here working.
Absolutely. Residential rehab programs, the last of the city notes I have for today. Approved that agreement with the Great River Housing. You had told us something about that, but I can't recall what it was exactly.
Yeah, just real brief on that. So it's a residential rehab program. And understand the reason for this is we have to, by state law, set aside so much money when we do a TIF project that is meant for low to moderate income housing.
Okay.
And so we as a council thought instead of building a house or two with this money, let's go out and help our current citizens. Let's help them rehab some of their houses, and let's do it on external features like the roof and siding that will make the entire neighborhood look better. So that's the focus of this program, is to use those funds. Southeast Iowa Regional Planning will handle the application process on both ends. Great River Housing will do a one-to-one match with us this first year, so we'll give $15,000. They'll give $15,000, and we'll use that to help our citizens.
And then, would this include things like a sidewalk, a driveway, or these kinds of things, or no?
We're trying to focus mainly on the homes. So
okay.
It'll be roof, siding, windows, any gutters, things like that are necessary on the home. That will also kind of be external and raise the neighbor's property value by having a nicer looking house next to them.
Gotcha. I see, most of the sidewalks in West Burlington are in pretty good shape, but some of the driveways could stand a look. Is the reason I mention it. But
yeah, and we do have a program that we're starting. You know, there's been no money in the budget for, I don't know, probably 20 years for alleyways, and that's something we're looking at doing. We actually set aside $80,000 for it last year, and plan on doing it again this year, so we can start doing the alleys here in town. And I think that's still something we're going to get done.
All right, I was drinking coffee. You caught me right between there. I'm usually pretty good at sneaking that in. So off to the real estate thing now. I was thrilled to see on Instagram that you sold that house at 712 North Street. When Mark and Irvin used to live there, I was a guest several times there. It was such a beautiful and unique property. For both residential and at that time for business. And I thought to myself when you got that listing, this is going to be the hardest place in the world to sell. It's next to a convenience store. It's an odd, weird lot. It's a lot of weird stuff. But if a person could show that house, could really see it, it'd be like, wow. So I'll admit to having somewhat of a doubtful attitude that you could get that done, but alas, you proved me wrong.
Yeah, and let's step through this. I think it's an important lesson for why you should have a realtor list your house, even right now when the market's hot. I did ask my seller if we could talk about this a little bit today, kind of in detail about the process, and they were okay with it. So let's just, call it what it is. This is a tough day to sell a commercial building right now. Residential is really hot, but you don't know if you're going to get closed down tomorrow as a small business.
Right.
So selling a commercial building is pretty tough, and the best use of that property, the way to get the most money out of that is to sell the bottom part as a commercial space and the top part as a rental. And that commercial is just not moving today. So that really changed who we were able to go after as a buyer, and so it's one of the reasons I think you need a real estate agent to be able to market correctly and read the market and know the best use of a property in today's market. So
didn't they start out not with a realtor?
Yeah, this property started out as a for sale by owner. The owner is a great photographer as well, so they had done some great pictures, created a website, really did a lot of work trying to sell it before it got to me, and so a lot of that was done, which was nice, but it did not sell over probably a month's time. So they gave me a call. I'd sold the seller another house previously, so. And I just want to step you through all the things I did to market the home. This is quite a list, so I'm going to read it once, and then you let me know if there's something you want to talk about. But obviously, putting a sign in the yard, anybody driving by that every day sees that RE/MAX sign. You would be amazed how many people see that and call about the property. So the sign still has some power.
Right.
As well as just putting that on our multiple listing service, which kicks it out to Realtor.com and Zillow and all those other sites.
I don't think people know what multiple listing service is when they see that MLS. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, that's the back-end service that realtors use. We go in there and put all the house details, and not only does that kick it out to Realtor.com and Zillow and all those other sites, but the real power is in that it goes to all the other realtors in town,
right? And
it goes to all of our buyers. So every buyer I have set up in there to receive listings when they come on that meet kind of, their minimum specs. And so that gets emailed out to them directly. So it's very powerful. The next thing we did, we took all the RE/MAX agents through, so about 15 of us. That's big because normally people leave a property after that tour and they've got some buyers in mind and they're on the phone giving them calls. So when you're doing $70 million in real estate a year, we've got a lot of buyers. So that's a big step right there. Obviously printed materials, social media posts. I also went and did a 3D video walkthrough where you can actually turn the camera around as you're watching it on YouTube and see every nook and cranny of the house, which is something new I've been doing. We also I actually run the largest Southeast Iowa housing Facebook group, about 15,000 members, so able to kick it out on there quite often. I've also...
What's that called? How does a person get with that?
Yes, if you are on Facebook and search for Southeast Iowa Housing, you'll see it right there. It'll come up.
Okay.
Pretty big group. We've got a lot of members and a lot of posts every day. It's really taken off. A lot of rental properties if somebody's interested in renting in there as well.
Okay.
And then on social media, again, I ran a lot of ads for that property, and not only just to the general public, but then I started making personal phone calls to businesses that I thought might go in there, like hairdressers and therapists and barbers and anybody that could use a small business like that. And then not only called them, but also followed up by targeting them specifically on social media. So ran ads in front of them for a couple months. And then finally, talking about that property here on this radio station every week or every other week or so. So really, when I have a house, I just try to make sure it is out there and that it is marketed in every way possible, that, nobody can look at it and go, well, you didn't do this. Well, I want to do everything.
Right. But that's, you're willing, when people wonder what they get for their money, there's a person willing to work for the money and not just earn the money, of value added, actually get the job done sold, closed, the whole deal.
Yeah, and then, the other part of this, which I didn't give you many notes on this, but a lot of things happened at the end of this process, which if you didn't have one or two realtors involved, this deal would not have went together. And with some financing issues, we actually had to go find another buyer in the middle of this. We actually found two additional buyers and had two other offers, and that was some great work by another realtor at Remax, getting that done so we could get the deal all put together. And then we had a major inspection issue, which ended up being nothing in the end. We actually had the initial report came back that there was a major sewer line break. And by the end of it, great city of Burlington worked with us. They came in and scoped it from the city side on the main. We had two other people come in and scope it from the inside going out to the main. If you're not familiar with a sewer, there's a part of that pipe that you own, and it's your responsibility.
Yep.
And in the end, there was no issue. We were actually putting a pipe down into the very beginning of the sewer system up on North Hill, and what was originally called a break was actually just the start of the system. So that could have been a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 repair that could have been started. But instead, we had two real estate agents in there going, you know what? Hey, look, we've seen this before, and this is what it's been, and making phone calls to the city and some other contacts to get in there and make sure we had the right data, and they ended up costing $0.
Want someone to stick on your project until it's done and signed and complete? That's Andy Crowner. He's at andycrowner.com, also Facebook, Andy Crowner. And then you heard Southeast Iowa Housing on Facebook with the rentals and other units and information. It's turned out to be a pretty big deal. I'm going to go there now as soon as you hang up and take a look at that. We're just a minute or so away from the bottom of the hour. I didn't want you to get away without us saying Merry Christmas to you. And what are your plans for the holiday? Anything good going on that you know of?
We've had our big family Christmas already. We take a full day the Sunday before so that we can get up and have breakfast all together still and open some presents and play games all day. And it's such a fun day. And my mom, Sheila, does so much work on that day and make sure it's special for all the kids and grandkids. And so I wish you a Merry Christmas, and hopefully as we get into next year here, volcanoes will stop erupting and viruses will go away.
It's a big thing. Today's Register headline, Moderna shots have arrived. So now we've got the dueling vaccines going in every arm and all like that. I feel like 2021 is going to open up nice for us. But I think people have learned a very important lesson about their homes. And I'm thankful that you've been here to chronicle that as we've gone along. You get the last word as long as it's under 15 seconds. Here's Andy Crowner.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. And just remember, as we get to the end of this year, it's all right if it didn't go perfect. We survived it, and let's get better for next year and move on from this.
Right on. Say hi to your mom and dad for me.
I will. Merry Christmas.
All right. Thanks for checking in. 8:30, KCPS Radio.